People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, and I hope you're all doing well and safe on this Friday morning. The most important thing is that you have your health, people. Health is wealth. Once again, I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe, and I hope no bad times comes and disrupts you lot's thing further. Moving away from that though, and there ain't nothing to speak about apart from some Arsenal points or general Arsenal things I've seen across the internet. So let's not waste any more time rambling and let's crack on with that. The first is actually Jack Wilshere. Now, he's actually spoken on a podcast similar to Chesney on Arsenal.com. Go and read it. But some of the key things I took away from it, apparently on leaving Arsenal, he said, I wanted to stay at the club. I loved the club. I knew everybody at the club. I felt like it was my family. And then Arsenal left, so that dragged on. So maybe if Arsenal stayed, he would have stayed. I do think I think Arsenal need to move on from Jack Wilshere, and Jack Wilshere needed to move on from Arsenal purely because I would have kept him. I always say that. That's my heart speaking. And he's a bloody good footballer, regardless of not hitting potential. But he needed a break, man. When you think of Arsenal and Wilshere, they weren't healthy and that, he needed to go out elsewhere. And apparently Emre told him he's not going to play games, so he needed to keep it moving. I think he's going to return as a manager. I think he's going to make a good manager or coach if he gets back into that sort of stuff. We hear he's doing his coaching badges. He said, as soon as Emre said to me, look, you're not in my starting 11, I was like, okay, I need to leave. It was very difficult, as I said. It felt like Arsenal was my family. I was a part of Arsenal. It was a massive club, and I was a big part of it. It was difficult. Thanks for the memories, Wilshere, man. And selling Rene Adelaide was one of the worst things I saw Emre do as well. And yeah, he let you go. It probably would have been best for you to go because again, we did get to the point where, as good as you are, Wilshere, we did get to the point when you was to name Arsenal's best 11. Is Wilshere necessarily in it? No, and stuff. You were someone the fans could identify with. I actually think, by your own standards, you was quite relatively fit and healthy the last couple of years at Arsenal. Well, it is what it is. Moving away from that though, people, and we've been linked with Ferran Torres for a while. A lot of it's probably to do with Valencia's allegedly delicate financial situation, and a lot of it might to deal with his contract. Now, I believe Valencia will give him a new deal, but apparently Valencia winger is one of Arsenal's priorities, according to Jordan Choco, I believe. Apparently, Ferran Torres' agent has offered his client to several clubs. Still no offer from interested clubs. The player does not want to extend his contract and will be a free agent next summer as things stand. So similar to Aubameyang and Saka, he's contracted until 2021. He wants to leave. Now, again, his agent's job is to, if his client wants to leave, to go and find him a new party. And he's offered him around and he's not heard anything back. Now, we've got to discount that. There could be a move happening in the background that we don't know about. Clubs might just say, you know what, listen, it's still a delicate transfer market. We don't know how we're going to react, so we're not going to be the first club to bid for you and kind of reveal our hand sort of thing. There's many different ways. Teams that were going to go for him financially might see it's not worth it, or teams might just simply be playing a waiting game. Or this could just be worse and he stays at Valencia. I think he's a decent player with potential to get better. I think it would be worth him coming and playing for it, or us pursuing Arteta's fellow countrymen. Like I said, he's in his early 20s. There's potential to grow, there's potential to develop, to become a key player for us and a key part of what Arsenal's trying to do. Of course, again, I never like to sign players with one eye on selling them, but you have to be prepared for one day the Torreiras, the Guendouzi's, the Martinelli's, the Sakas. If this guy came, Saliba as well now, players that we want them to, we think they can be top players, and we have to bear in mind that, with that, the big boys are going to come, which is cool. You sign a player for 10 million, let's say you sign Martinelli for, how much did we sign him for? A couple of million. You sell him for 80 million. The world goes on, sort of thing. You reinvest that. You try to find the next one, or you go and invest in other areas of your side. You do the same for Saliba, potentially Torreira and Guendouzi to a more or lesser extent. Who knows, people? I would love him, but who knows? Apparently, though, moving on from that, and Julian Laurens has said Aubameyang loves Arsenal but wants Champions League football. And that was Aubameyang's carrot of coming here to help us get back in the Champs. And he thought he'd probably be missing it for a year. Since he's been here, he's not played Champions League. He deserves to go and play Champs. I think the only thing that keeps Aubameyang, to be honest with you, is a healthy contract as well, people. You've got to think about it, really. I'm not saying he's motivated by money, but really, we've got to be honest with ourselves. And, that's a damning statement. I mean, don't we all too? We love Arsenal, but I want Champions League football. So if Aubameyang keeps it moving, I can't really say anything, people, really and truly with you. Away from that, though, and we've been linked with the Olympiacos centre-half before, but we've been linked with their centre-half Bar. I can't say his first name, so I'm not going to try. But reports have said the Gunners want a defender who can make a difference and have an evolution, with the young centre-back of Olympiacos being the right choice. Arsenal first noticed him during their game in the Europa League, and he played quite well against us. He's solid, he doesn't take risks, you know, I really like him. He's fairly decent with a ball at his feet. He's a decent player, and again, his profile, he might not cost the most, and we've been linked with a couple of players from Olympiacos, the midfield lad as well. I wouldn't mind him, really, because he can't do much worse. You know, again, maybe going for Olympiacos, he might cost slightly less than some of the other targets we've been linked with. And he's got the physical capabilities, I think, to play in the Prem with time and coaching and ironing out elements of his game, people. Briefly away from that, we know Callum Chambers, I think he would have featured a lot under Arteta, but unfortunately he's been injured. He has spoken on his recovery. He said, the surgery went well, and in terms of recovery, I'm just cracking on with what I can do at home. In my head, I haven't put a date on anything, put a time scale on it. It's just doing everything you can do in the moment to get the best out of the situation. And that's what you've got to do mentally. If he thinks too much about what he used to be able to do as a footballer and rushes to try and get back to that level, he's going to do more harm than good. He's going to harm himself physically. He's going to harm himself mentally. You know, it's the wounds heal. Eventually the wounds heal. It's psychologically. Some players never get back. So he's got to really take his time. Obviously, he's got a fellow centre-half and a good friend that sadly went through something similar in Rob Holding, who I don't think they live together anymore, because remember a few months ago allegedly Holding moved in with his girlfriend, or she moved into his place. But you'd imagine he's someone he can call upon, and you know, they're sort of brothers. They seem two very close people. They'll help him. Obviously he's got a long-time teammate in Hector Bellerin to lean on as well, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple other players he could do that, and I think Arsenal's one big family. So shout out to Chambers for having that mental strength, because he must be thinking he's got no luck, man. He's been determined to make it at Arsenal. He finally got his opportunity. If we're honest, prior to his injury, he's probably our best centre-half, really and truly. And seeing seeing David Luiz, and obviously Mustafi's form, they might be afforded an extra year stay, more so in Mustafi's case, because allegedly Luiz getting a new deal. Saliba to come next season. We don't know what's going to happen with Socrates. Chambers might be out of sight, out of mind. I don't think that's the case, because I remember, did Arteta not start him against Chelsea? So he has some faith in him. But he's going to need to take time with him. Similar to Holding and Bellerin, we've got to take time. They're still not fully fit and fully able to do what they've previously been able to do. So I don't know how long it's going to take him. I wouldn't say it's a benefit for this corona stuff, because it's not a benefit. In an ideal world, football would have never stopped. But I do think it can help him in a weird way, is that, you know, he's not at Arsenal's ground. He's not, you know, he's not in the gym looking out the window and he's seeing Arteta doing the tactic drills with the players. You get it, people? Because that can work as motivation, because you want to get out there. It can be lonely when you're, I'm not saying he has, but when you're going through setback, when you're trying to work through fitness, when you're thinking, woe is me, and you just want to be able to run again, and you're seeing players, to you it's like they're taking it for granted, sort of thing. So maybe the fact that there is, apart from Germany to come back tomorrow, there is no football on, the team isn't playing and training. Obviously with that in mind, we're looking to get back playing and training again as a whole. But you get it, people. So, you know, credit to Chambers for his mental strength, and we hope he gets well. But back to the transfer stuff, people. Apparently, reports on Twitter have said Arsenal inquired about Nico Barella, but Inter Milan will not sell him. Now, haven't Inter got him on a loan with an option to buy? I could be completely wrong about that and chatting nonsense, but something tells me he's not typically their player. Now, at least to me, he's not making as much noise since he's joined Inter Milan versus when he was at Calgary. But you'd imagine we've missed a boat on that player. We simply missed out on him. He's gone to Inter Milan. That's him now, really. I'm trying to find out when he joined. So yeah, he joined on a 4-year deal with an obligation. Sorry, he joined on a year-long loan deal with the obligation to buy. So I was pretty sure about that. So I guess in theory, you know, if Barella said, no, I don't want to sign for Inter Milan, I want to move, he could. But these sort of things, I swear, the way his contract has kind of been done in relation to going to Inter Milan, isn't that something typically most Italian teams do? So I don't know what to read into that. All I know is that, apologies for kicking the screen, we've had previous interest in this player, and that's probably where the bulk of these rumours come from. Moving away from that though, and French reports have said it's irrelevant from Arsenal, but apparently Montpellier have a registered interest in former Arsenal 21-year-old attacker Stephy Mavididi, who, as you lot know, currently plays for Juventus but is on loan in Dijon. There's been a couple of teams. Apparently Dijon want to make him permanent, and I thought I would just mention that because I like to track the progress of our ex-Gunners. Once a Gunner, always a Gunner, for instance, or Gooner, whatever you want to call yourself. Moving away from that, and according to the AFC Bell, which, you know, if it's AFC Bell, if it's, you know, LT Arsenal, there's some good Twitter, Mr. Arsenic, ZR, there's some good Twitter accounts that, you know, I mean, these man there were tracking Torreira's plane and all these things. Like, they're very good at their job. They're better at their job than I am at making YouTube vids, and they do a good job. But the AFC Bell is reporting Arsenal are planning to go back for Mikola Matviyenko. Arteta is pushing the move as an option at centre-back and left-back. They claim he is now a defensive priority with just 1 year remaining on his contract. Shakhtar should significantly lower their 30 million asking price. And there you have it. You know, we're in a delicate position financially as a club. We don't know how the market is going to react. You know, we might deem Upamecano and he's too expensive, and we've been linked with Disasi. Negotiations with Reims aren't progressing. We've been linked with Indico, we might have been put off. We've been linked with the Olympiacos Donny. So you can see how someone that's playing for Shakhtar, with all due respect, could be tempted with the prospect of joining Arsenal, coming to the Premier League, and things like that. People, obviously, I've covered him before, so I don't go into too much depth. But I do think that's a recycled rumour. Again, I want a centre half, so I wouldn't complain if he arrives in the club, or any centre half arrives in the club, people. But there's not much more to add. In fact, there isn't nothing else to add, people. So I'm not going to do you lot a disservice of staying longer than I'm welcome. On that note, it's always a pleasure. Deluded.